Greetings. I'm George Boston Rhymes. I reside here in Valdosta, Georgia. I retired here in 1991, January to be exact. A few minutes ago, I was filling my car up with gasoline. A young black man came by and asked me, said, could you do me a favor? I said, what kind of favor you need, young man? And he said to me, I need some tobacco. They won't sell it to me. They done changed the law on me. And I said to him, I said, brother, I'm a law abider, not a lawbreaker. He said, well, I'm sorry, man. I just want to know if I get you to get me some tobacco products. I'm 20. I went in the store after he left and I asked the lady about it. She said, yeah, he came in here and said, don't do it. I said, no, I'm not going to do it because I don't violate the law knowingly. And so I got to thinking about that, and I just thought I would share it with some of the people who want to know. It is really satanic. It is like as if though Satan controls the world. Now, I read in the lost books of the Bible years ago, in the forgotten books of Eden, that man was given 6,000 years to reign, to be in power. And after that, God would bring in somebody else to take the realm. Be at the head of the helm, what I mean. Then I picked up the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. I also studied the white Christian identity group, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and a lot of more books that I'm not going to mention here today because I want to try to make this as brief as I can. But I am thinking about our young people today. What have they done to our young people? All right, look, I'm not your professors at some university, Harvard, Princeton, or Mars, any of that like that, but I do have a little common sense. And it navigated me 21 years in the armed forces. Now, when a young man in America and in the state of Georgia turn 18, he must sign up for the military. Though the draft is gone, they still can implement it if they need you to fight the wars of this nation. So how in heaven, let me say it again, I know some of you all hearing is bad because you've been listening to that bad, loud music. How in hell can they do that to our young people? They want our young boys and girls, but boys more particular, to go fight in the wars of this nation at 18. 18 years of age, they ain't even a man yet. They say 7 is the number of completeness or fulfillment. 3 times 7 is 21. They're not even a man yet. But you want them to go out and die for this country. But you want to put them in jail if they get or chew on some tobacco or smoke blown out of their nostrils that will eventually kill them. But you will allow them to go pick up the M16 as I did, and wherever your commanding officer tell you to go and kill. They're not even your enemies. You can't tell me this is a Christian nation. Well, maybe it is a Christian nation. When I look at what Christians do, I'm talking about these real Christians, they say. I don't want to be a Christian, not like the ones I see. And so to make it home and to bring it in, because when that young man, he seemed like he was a fairly clean-cut kid. And I said to myself, he gonna eventually get that tobacco that he want. But if they catch him, if the police catch him, that could be his career in jail, from that to prison, and maybe death row. But yet, If they call him to go fight in Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Tajikistan, he would have to go die for this country and can't even get a chew of tobacco. Can't even get a fresh, cold Coors beer. I don't blame these young folk. I blame these rusted behind Negroes in particular, us black folk. Because we don't have no rights. If you haven't learned that in 2020, then you must be a Satan yourself. Now, somebody in the black community got to love us like we've been loving white folk for all these times. Now, I'm not a racist. In fact, I'm not even going to talk about that. And I'm not even going to talk about no racism. Talk about something else. It's sad when we fail to love each other. I don't care how much you go to church. I don't care if you got a doctorate of divinity. I don't care if you got a master in the highest level of nuclear engineering. If you got a doctorate degree in nuclear engineering and you see and you are aware that they are putting radiation in our food, and you won't say a damn thing about it, what kind of educated fool are you? If you are in the military and you know that people on your military installation in the weaponry department are filtering ammo and weapons to the Klan and other white supremacist groups or black supremacist groups, and you don't say nothing, what in heaven are you talking about when you say you're a Christian, or you a Muslim, or you a Jew, or you a Buddhist, or you a good person? The hell you are. I'm sorry, I mean to say that. The heaven you are. The heaven you are. You see, when you put on a happy face and you pretend that you're what they call saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, and fire baptized, that stuff worked on people yesterday. That stuff don't even fool our grandchildren today. Our grandchildren see clean through those lies you tell. For example, I know some of you all like me, you was kind of hard-headed, even in growing up. But if I see my daddy slap my mama so hard, he slapped her from the kitchen to the back of the bedroom across the bed on the floor. And he is the pastor of a church. And he know Jesus. Or he know Allah. Or he followed the son of Amram and Yoshabel Moses. Or Buddha. Or if he's a priest in the Catholic Church, master of Catholicism. And if he molests his own daughter, sex with his son, failed to provide for the children that the two of them produce, and they say they love God. And we got crazy grown-up adults follow them wicked people. They are wicked, man. Yet you go there and you pay your 10% because you won the lottery. And just because you won $5 million, you give them 10%. They shake your hand and you think you somebody. You are a Satan yourself. You don't fool the real followers of the God of creation doing that kind of stuff. Now, y'all excuse me. I was at the gas pump and came all inside of your house. I apologize for that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come inside your house. But you who follow the churches and the leadership that I used to follow, and I'm not criticizing nobody where I went to church at because it wasn't nobody's fault but mine. Whenever you go to a church and they don't tell you to study outside of the Bible, that was one of the worst things ever happened to me as a child. But one day I fell on my way to the bus station. And I found out that everywhere they told me, every book they told me not to read, I went and got it. And I didn't just read it. I tried and prayed and fasted and asked God to give me the knowledge to master it. From Hunter Street in Atlanta, the northwest, southwest side of town, I went and bought the Egyptian Book of the Dead. You better not get that book, them devils will jump all over you. That's why I don't fear the devil today. If the devil come up out here in my yard right now, I will stop doing this and I'll go sit down and talk with it. Why, Brother Rhyme, you gonna talk with the devil? Because I don't fear the devil. You don't fear what you know. What you fear is what you don't know. That's why you study everything. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Book of Josephus, the Book of the Wars of God, the Book of the Knowledge of God, the Book of Jasher, the Book of Tobit, the Maccabees. You read them all. So when somebody come to you and try to fool you into Guyana, where you would drink a cup of holy water, holy they take, and 3,000 people dead because you didn't know. Why is it that you want somebody to lead you anyway? That's where they made the biggest mistake. Look at Eddie Long there in Atlanta, all those people that followed him, all these other mega churches. That's why when I see a mega church, I go the other way. See, y'all look at the Bible. You go by the Bible. You open the Bible. But you don't understand the Bible because you're not able to comprehend what you read, and you won't let God teach you what you need to know so you can survive and be willing to meet the devil in your front yard, the backyard, in the house, or on top of the house, or under the house. Never seen so many scared to death men in my life that I see today. Black men is scared as hell. I mean, we got some scare-ass black men. Some of them are masters in electronics. Some are masters in music. Some are masters in the letter of the law. Some are masters in farming, but they won't stand up for what is right, for what is divine, for what is holy, and for what is natural for a natural human being, if you can find one today. Book says my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Not because they didn't, men, grown men, their whole life is concentrated on what a woman got between her legs. How silly can you be, man? Every animal God made get that job done. I got a bird feeder in the back here. I watched my birds back in this morning. I got bird feeder that feeds the wild birds. Them birds go back there and eat that free food I put up there for them. But when the rubber meets the road, they have sex with each other. They produce eggs. I watch the male and female. I watch them go build the little nests, and they know what to do. They're not confused whether they are bird, male or female. They know what in their nature to do. The lion, the tiger, the bears live in the jungle the few that they have left to live in. The lion don't just go around and kill you for no reason at all. Now, if he's hungry, then you become chocolate cake to them. Other than that, or you go and disturb their habitat or their home, they could care less about you. But we who call ourselves Christians and Muslims and Jews and Hindu, we want to control everything because we want the money. I got friends that retired from the military working 3 jobs and 60-some years old, trying to get more money and more money and more money. I have never worked 2 jobs in my life at the same time. My uncle and my granddaddy told me, any man that got to work 2, 3, and 4 jobs, he don't have a job. Because the Bible says, when night comes, so now if you work in the night, then daytime is your night. But if you're working all the time, that's why you beat the hell out your wife or girlfriend, or they beat the hell out of you one. This mind, this dome, this Georgia dome on my body is gold-plated. And to say it's gold-plated is an understatement, because the dome that enhouses my brain is more precious than the dome of gold on the Georgia State Capitol. Because that don't help me. This is the dome that protects me. Know yourself. Know yourself. And when you know yourself, you'll stand up for your children. And you would at least say, government of Georgia, state of Georgia, how can you ask these young 18-year-old children to go fight a war, be willing to die as I was, because I was ignorant as hell? I wouldn't go into the military today I wouldn't go for no reason. I would not join the military. And I did 21 years in there and get a check every month. 2 checks, in fact. But I wouldn't go today. I wouldn't have went yesterday if I had understood how little this government cares about the black man, woman, and their children. I taught my boys not to go into the military because they don't give a damn about you. You used to lie to black folk. You kept us from learning how to read, write, and do arithmetic for hundreds of years. And I don't blame white folks for that. I blame my parents and my grandparents for not making the decisions that they should have made, at least to teach me to stop expecting the white man to be fair to me. The white people are not going to ever give you freedom. They're never going to give you justice. And the sooner black folk across this earth learn that, we will always be bowing down and begging somebody else for a living. After 460 years in North America, the black man is still begging white folks to be free. Well, you're looking at a free black man today. No, I wasn't free yesterday. I wasn't free in the military, but I'm damn sure free today. I understood what Dr. King said. If a man or a woman or a child have not found something that he's willing to die for, then he is not fit to live, and he shouldn't want to live. People tell me, Rhymes, you speak a very powerful truth. You don't even know me. You don't even know my name. You don't know the job and the mission that I'm on. You don't know the me that makes me me. You don't know the pain. You don't know the pain and the suffering that made me who I am. You don't know the rejection, being called a nigger, being called a Jesse Jackson acolyte. Want every daddy name that you can think of. I've been called all of those names and then some. But you won't see nowhere since I stepped out on this journey in 1975 where I came out at anybody that spoke ill or physically came after me. I'm talking about in the church and out of the church. Because I called hell in the church when I was a traditional minister. But when I fell on my way to the bus station and I refused to be a fool or a tool in the name of a Jesus that very few people have even heard bring a message. Jesus made it so plain. I'm talking about the real Jesus. I'm not talking about that white Jesus. I'm talking about the black Jesus. The black Jesus that worked for black folk. That's the Jesus I'm talking about. You see, the black Jesus tell you, I am the way. That's the black Jesus said that. The white Jesus said, I am the way. That means you black folk follow the white man way. But the black Jesus say, I am the way. What you mean? That means I'm the way. Me. I, the black man, woman, and children. I am that way. What you mean, bro, Ryan? Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. God is in you. So what you want to find another way? Ecclesiastes 8:8 say, no man had power over the spirit to retain the spirit. That spirit lives in you, but you allow others to come and tell you that God ain't in you and that you don't have a soul and that you're a second-class citizen because you are black. A diamond would never become a diamond if it didn't go through darkness. The vegetables that you eat, drop them in the soil, they got to go through blackness. See, I didn't know this when I was younger because they had told me that white folk was superior to black folk, so I didn't know all of this. They sure as heaven didn't teach me in church. But when I picked up the Bible and I found out the books that was taken from the Bible, then I read about the Vatican, and I read about the Moors, and then I picked up and I started fasting, and I asked God to teach me what he want me to know, so I would not be a new slave on the plantation of ignorance with a PhD degree or a Doctor of Divinity degree. Man, we got more preachers today than we ever had in the world. And when you go into a community like I go to help these people across Georgia who are being lied on, cheated on, sent to jail and prison, and some to death row, and the church and even the civil rights organization don't give a damn about them. And they give me hell for being a fool and a tool for my people. How many of you all have sent me 1 penny for what I have been doing since 1975? I live here in Valdosta. Ain't nobody give me no appreciation dinner. I don't even want one, but I just want you to know that what Jesus said is prevalent today. I'm not talking about the white Jesus. I'm talking about that black Jesus. When he said, If they do this to a dry tree, what will they do to a green one? And it also works vice versa. Jesus said, my sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not follow. Jesus said, haven't I not chosen you 12 apostles, and one of you is a devil? Did not David say, my own familiar friend, who wined with me, who supped with me, have now lifted up his heels against me? God didn't want me to just read those scriptures and go to bed. God put me in a circle where I would have to endure the pain of what was written in the Bible. And then so when you get up to talk about it, you'll know what in heaven you're talking about. So I stand on God's word. And you don't hear me around here downtown telling everybody I meet, hallelujah, God bless you, I'm saved, you need to get saved. And say, well, if you want somebody to get saved, what in the hell is your saved and sanctified doing for your community? Don't even go to city council meeting. Don't go to the BCAG. Don't go to nothing. What you saved for? Just to go to church? Just to go to mosque? Just to go to synagogue? All these people are suffering. And I'm not talking about giving them some money. I'm not with that program either. Just because you are multi-rich, you'll go in the black community and give away $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 and think you've done something. No, you did that to please your conscience for the wrongdoing that you've done. Why don't you fight for those people you want to give that money to so they can get out of poverty and get an education so they can compete with you in the job market like your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren? You don't want that. But see, Jesus said, want for your neighbor that which you want and have for yourself. That's why you can't fool me. You can't tell me you love me. You could put $1,000 right here and tell me you love me. You can come back next week and give me another 1,000 and another 1,000. But if you don't give me equality, if you don't grant justice to me when I go to the court system, when I go to your restaurant and I don't see no blacks employed, because I don't buy where I don't see no black waitresses. If I don't see no black nurses, I'm not going to that hospital. When I go to a service station and I don't see no blacks employed, you don't get my green dollars. Why you do that, Brother Ryan? Because I learned to love myself like the black Jesus say, love ye one another. And he said, if a man does not provide for his own house, then he's worse than an infidel. And Brother Rhymes is not going to be no infidel. I used to be because I listened to your teachings. But when I started listening to the God that lived within me that say, I am the way, the truth, and the life, no man cometh unto me, the father of my children, but by me. And when you come after my children, I will fight to the death if they are right. Because I done taught them the right way. But if they choose to go down the left road, I'm there for them, but they on their own. You don't, just like the young man today asked me that question. I could have bought that for him, but for what? You don't have to do that. Can you imagine? Let me tell y'all something, then I'm gonna close. I promise I'm gonna close. When I ride through Valdosta and I see young women got their clothes off, showing everything from New York to California. And I sit and my heart grieves. I say to myself, that got to be a hell of a way to have to live, where you got to sell your body for $1 in survival. I say to myself, they must have really disappointed their parents, or their parents really disappointed them. Want to sell their body for $1. When I see young boys selling this drugs Molly and all these other drugs to another human being, I say to myself, that's a hell of a way to have to live. And it's our fault because we failed them. We failed to teach them not to be murderers. And that's what you are. You are a murderer of a young child's life when you sell drugs. So, what is even more sickening, some of you are watching me now. You know your child is selling drugs. You know your child buying cigarettes and tobacco. You know your son driving a vehicle without auto insurance, without a driver's license, without a proper registration. Some of them you know about, but you don't say nothing. But when the police pull up on them and they flow the gas pedal to the floor to get away because they know they are illegal. And it's your fault, mama. It's your fault, daddy. If you love your child, if you love your neighbor, then help them. That young man this morning asked me that question. I don't blame him because he couldn't get that tobacco. I wasn't going to get it for him because I don't break the law. Hell, I don't break the law and still go to jail. I'm under criminal trespass for about 7 years now and didn't violate no law. But they didn't want me to report with my camera on the Kendrick Johnson death that took place at the Lowndes County High School. But I haven't stopped talking about it. The equipment 10+2 was cleared of all bogus charges from the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, and Glenn Archer, his lead investigator. All charges were dropped against those 12 people, and Latasha Head died from the stress from them lies. Lula Smart was the first one that they took to court. The first trial was a mistrial. The third trial, they exonerated her on all charges, and eventually they cleared all of them. Most of you all don't even know about the equipment 10+2 because you don't care. And you don't care, some of you, because you don't know. And you don't know because the white mainstream news media wouldn't publish what I publish. Because you don't count to them except they need you to fight a war. Or they need your children to fight a war. That's when then they'll show you and they'll tell you, I love the veterans. The hell you do. How can you love the veterans today? But then when they go out on the street, you shoot them down like wild dogs by members of law enforcement. How can you say you love the veterans and you see these lawyers who get money off these poor folk? I ain't just talking about black folk either, but they just play games with them. And wicked judges. You got some judges, man. I wouldn't know the wicked judges the white lawyers didn't tell me. Man, I have some of these white friends, my lawyer friends, white, tell me so they're talking about testing people. They need to test these lawyers, and they need to test these judges for drugs. That's who need to be tested. And then we need somebody to investigate who in the higher echelons these black people are selling drugs for. But see, when we are in Satan's world, we can expect Satan to do what he's doing as he works, and that's what he's doing. The Satan is doing his job, man. And most of these Satan followers, listen as I close. And this is a promise. I'm going to close now. Listen as I close. Most of these devil worshipers, those who follow the dictates of Jezebel, and others who have allowed themselves to be overcome by the forces of Satan. Let me say this. This is a compliment to W.D. Muhammad in Al-Islam. Brother W.D., I appreciate Al-Islam. I appreciate the teaching that you are giving to many young black men, women, and their children. We don't hear much from you, my brother, but from what I've seen, and you know I've gone to some of the masjids when I was stationed at Myrtle Beach. And Al-Islam teach their women how to cover their vagina. Teach them how to put on a bra that come all the way up. Teach the men to look for a woman who got her body covered, because they should want their children to come up with respect. You know, when I was raising my children, my daughter couldn't walk around this house naked. My boys couldn't walk around half dressed. I had a code in my house, like my grandmother had a code in her house, and I was brought up by my grandparents. You know, what we see today is because we parents produced it. And now you want your son, although they ain't worth a dime, they don't have no moral standards, and you want them to go out there and find a good woman. Well, hell, if you didn't raise a good son, your son don't deserve a good woman. He need a piece of trash, just like the one you produced. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. That's what I taught my daughter. My son, they were coming up, I say nothing from nothing leaves nothing. I told my daughter, when you grow up and you graduate, and if you decide to go to college, I say when you get out of school, and if you don't want nothing out of life, I say you go find you a man, don't want nothing out of life. I say you can get a bum on the street, get him and be happy with him. If he's a drunk, be a drunkard with him. If you want a liar, be a liar with him. But if you don't want that, and if you want to be something in life, then get you a man who want to be and who will work like a honeybee or a bumblebee. And until he create his own honeycomb. I told my boys, if you go out and make babies like little rabbits, then walk away from your responsibility. I told them, you are not a man. You're not even my son. I say you're a beast in human form. And I say, if you want to understand what makes you tick and operate, I say go to the book of Revelations. Because in the book of Revelations, when you see them beasts coming up out of the sea with all them horns and all them heads, those are human beings masquerading. Those are beasts. Those are beasts masquerading as human beings, and they don't care about you, they don't care about themselves, they don't care about respecting their mama, their daddy, their sisters, the police, or nobody else. So I commend Al-Islam for teaching the women how to be women. You teach men how to stand up. I remember I was in Myrtle Beach and I would lean on the wall, and one of the brothers come by and ask me, he said, brother, you trying to hold up the wall? I said, what you mean, brother? He said, you a man. You stand on your own 2 feet. He said, you look stronger when you stand up on your own feet. Don't lean. That's why the Muslims don't teach their men to lean on a wall. You don't find a real Muslim leaning on a wall or leaning on a tree. That's why they stand independent or anything that's surrounding them. I'm not talking about these popcorn Muslims. I'm not talking about these people who say they are Muslim but are not. Just like Jesus talked about those who say they are Jews but are not. This is what I'm talking about. Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. That beautiful brother. You see, anything that's beautiful, anything that's good for us, anybody that come and want to teach us the right way, like the black Jesus, when he say, I am the way. When he say, I am the way, Farrakhan say, I am the way. Have you seen where he struck out at anybody? Have you seen him try to kill white folk? Have you seen him lying on white folk? Have you seen him do anything but that which is good for the nation of black folk? Have you seen him do anything Have you seen him messing with little children? How many children have you heard he got on the outside or the inside of the mosque? And if he did have some, so what? David had them, Solomon had them, and a lot of them in the Bible had outside children. That's not my job. My job is to measure the good works of a man. That's why, for the most part, I'm going to talk about religious leaders, but you don't see where I attack none of them outright by name and try to belittle them. That's not my job, because the black Jesus said he would be the judge. And I do not want to take the job of the black Jesus. You see, that's what done happened. Many white folk done took the job of the white Jesus, and they want to punish people. They want to, whatever it is, they want to control it. Y'all have a nice day. What stirred me to give this morning was the young man, 18 years old, asked me to buy him some tobacco products as I was filling my car up with gas. He said to me, "Brother, I just want some tobacco." I went inside and asked the storekeeper. A young man she said, "Yeah, he was in here." She said, "Don't buy them for him." I said, I'm not a lawbreaker. So I don't break the law knowingly. That's not my program. Never have been. I would never put a vehicle, not even ride around the block without life insurance. Auto insurance. I would not ride to Quitman and don't have driver's license. I wouldn't drive a vehicle that's not registered. I wouldn't ride with dope in my pocket or needles in my veins. I don't do that. Now, if they legalize marijuana, I may take a couple puffs. I said I may take a couple puffs because it's legal if they legalize it. But I know it's not good for me, so 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to mess with it. See, I was in Okinawa, Japan, Bangkok, went to Udon, went to Karat, what the other place? I've been to those places, and I've seen what marijuana did because they smoked it over there a lot. And the mama son used to come to me, and when I didn't smoke it, and I'm 20 years old, they said, "You don't butterfly, that means go to shop." God can't say I touched a woman while I was over there for 18 months. And I was at my young age when everything was stand up like the Longhorns in Texas. Women was not my weakness. What was my weakness is that I love my people. And my people seemingly don't give a damn about me. And I appreciate you not caring about me. I appreciate you not saying good words or at least a kind word about me. If people would speak kind words of me, I probably would stop doing what I'm doing, because Jesus told us that people were going to hate us. You find a religious leader, I don't like the word religious, you find a divine follower of God. You don't have to stay in church and, "I'm saved, man. I'm saved." I don't do that because I'm saved, man. You know, I don't do that, man. I'm saved and sanctified. I'm Holy Ghost filled, and I make the difference, man. Well, if you make it, shut your damn mouth and go on and live your life and do something else. Don't sit there talking about it. People see you, but the question is, do they see the God in you by the way you walk? Everybody not talking about all these things about the church and religion and what you need to do and all of that. I'm telling you to look at the black Jesus in the Bible. The black Jesus in the Bible rode into Jerusalem on the back of an ass. He didn't come in no 747. He didn't come in no Porsche. He came on a jackass. And jackasses make hell of a noises. And the minute that Negro walked into Jerusalem, what did they do to him? They struck out after him, wanted to kill him, because they knew who he was. They knew who he was. They was waiting on him. Satan followers were waiting on Jesus. But in the end, truth, right, and justice won. I wrote a book. I don't say I wrote the book. God gave me a book. I was stationed in Klamath Falls, Oregon. I woke up one morning about 3:30. And the way I perceive it, God said to me, put a pen in your hand and paper beneath the pen. That's what I did. And I wrote a book called Tribute to an Unknown Soldier. You can read it if you like. It's online if you want. If you don't, to heaven with it. I didn't write the book. I went to a board of bishops. They questioned me on every aspect of it. They wouldn't tell me if they liked it. They wouldn't tell me they disliked it. But they asked me every question. Question after question they asked me. And then, when it got down to the last part, I say, he was not a nuclear bomb, but his power was devastating. It says he was not the ringleader of Watergate, but he spoke of a heavenly gate. He was not the MX nor a cruise missile, but his love has cruised the world over. He came through 42 generations to abolish the sins of the world. Yet he was rejected and denied by members of his own. All that's in the book. This was given to me, handed down, if you will. When I got to the last sentence of that writing, the chairman of the bishops looked at each other and said, that's the masterpiece. And they asked me, how could you write something like that? And I said to them, the Spirit of God searches the deep things of God. And we would know them that labor among us in the gospel. They would have an unction from the Holy One. According to scriptures, I'm not writing these scriptures as I go. It's in the Bible. For ye shall have an unction from the Holy One, and you would know all things. I don't have to sit here and try to impress you. I'm not reading from a script that God put the script in me. I don't have to give you a quote of Einstein. God gave me a quote of my own. Y'all heard the quote, 2 heads better than one? I heard that all my life. But God told me to take it to the next level. Now this is my quote from that. 2 heads may be better than one, but never. Let me repeat. 2 heads may be better than one, but don't you, black man, forget which one belongs to you.